What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Let's talk about Greg Hardy versus Alexander Volkov. This fight's going down UFC Moscow. Greg Hardy's a last-minute replacement for JDS. Very gutsy of Hardy to step in short notice. Volkov is an experienced mixed martial artist and dangerous striker. Let's get into this match. Greg Hardy's a former football player. He stands at 6'5", very big man. He transitions to MMA, and his mixed martial arts record is 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest. Hardy also has an amateur record of 3 wins, 0 losses. All of his amateur and professional wins have been via KO TKO. Needless to say, he does have knockout power. Greg Hardy's very green to the sport. You can see by the way he fights and moves, by the way he strikes. He's still learning the game. He's a physical specimen. I would say he has a lot of potential if he sticks with the sport. He seems to be picking up. Every fight he does look a little better, but he certainly needs a lot of work. Hardy seems to prefer to strike and go for the knockout. Alexander Volkov is 6'7". He's even larger than Hardy with an 81-inch reach. He has a background in karate and kickboxing. He has a brown belt in Kyokushin karate and a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He sports a mixed martial arts record of 30 wins, 7 losses. 20 of his wins have been via KO TKO. I would say Alexander Volkov is a knockout artist. That's how he prefers to end his fights. He is well-rounded, very experienced. He's an aggressive fighter. He utilizes his reach pretty well, has a stinging jab, throws good combinations. He's currently ranked number 7 in the UFC heavyweight rankings. So how does Alexander Volkov and Greg Hardy match up in the cage? Well, first I'm going to say very bold move of Greg Hardy to take this fight on short notice. It's a huge jump in competition for him. I mean, levels up. Volkov, like I said, is a very experienced fighter. The way Hardy fights, he still looks like an amateur. And that's not a serious knock on him. He's just very green. In Volkov's last fight, he was knocked out by Derek Lewis. But if I remember correctly, he was winning that fight up until the knockout. Before that, he was on a 6-fight winning streak. Some of those wins include Fabricio Verdum, Stefan Struve, and Roy Nelson. So he's definitely beaten some big names. Hardy really doesn't have any big names on his resume yet. I'm going to say flat out that I heavily favor Volkov to take this fight. When I read that Hardy stepped in for JDS, I immediately gave him a lot of props because this is a super dangerous fight for him. I think Volkov is going to piece him up on the feet, pick him apart on the outside. If it goes to the ground, I would expect Alexander to dominate him there also. The experience and skill gap is just too big. With all that being said, Greg Hardy is a big freak athlete, very powerful. I would never say that a fighter has 0 chance in a fight. There is no such thing when punches and kicks are being thrown. Something could always land and turn the fight around. We see flash KOs all the time, upsets all the time. So you just never know. But I'm going to say with pretty high certainty that Alexander dominates this fight and most likely finishes Greg Hardy pretty much wherever he wants, standing or on the ground. Hardy's stand-up is very clunky and one-dimensional compared to Volkov's. Volkov is fluid, he throws combinations, he moves well. Hardy kind of throws single shots, he doesn't really set them up, he looks slow, clunky as I said. He gets out of the way of strikes by leaning back and going backwards, which I think Volkov is going to make him pay for. I'd be really shocked if Greg Hardy steals this fight. But we'll see what happens, guys. You just never know. You let me know who you think's going to win this fight in the comment section. Love him or hate him, he's a very controversial figure in MMA. But I have to give Greg Hardy props for stepping in to take this fight. It does show something. He really wants to try to reach the top, crack the top 10, and do something in this sport. That's going to wrap up this short breakdown, guys. If this is your first time on the channel and you enjoyed the video, click that subscribe button, like, share, appreciate it to the max, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.